What if the best way to beat your competition wasn't to fight them head on, but to make them, well, completely irrelevant? That's the huge, powerful idea behind Blue Ocean Strategy, a way of thinking that flips conventional business wisdom right on its head. To really get this, let's start with a puzzle. For years, the circus industry was in a major slump. Kids preferred video games, costs were going up, and people were getting more and more concerned about animal rights. So, how on earth did a brand new circus, Cirque du Soleil, not just survive, but achieve mind blowing success in that exact environment? To answer that question, we first need to understand the world most companies live in. The authors of this strategy have a name for it: a red ocean. So, a red ocean is basically the known market space, all the industries we have today. In this world, the goal is simple: outperform your rivals and grab a bigger slice of the existing pie. The name itself comes from a pretty intense metaphor. You see, as these markets get more and more crowded, the competition just gets brutal. The rules are known, all the products start to look the same, and pretty soon companies are locked in these nasty price wars. This intense fight for every last customer is what turns the water bloody with competition. It's a tough zero-sum game, right? And this, right here, was the exact situation for the traditional circus. All the circuses were fighting over the same shrinking audience. They were all trying to get slightly more famous performers or more exotic animals, which just drove their costs through the roof without really changing anything or bringing in new people. It was a perfect red ocean. But here's the thing: Cirque du Soleil, they just refused to play that game. They escaped the red ocean by doing something completely, radically different. And this is the absolute key. Cirque didn't try to be a better circus. It didn't go head-to-head with Ringling Brothers for their existing customers. No, instead, it created a brand new market space, a blue ocean, where, get this, it had no competition at all. And the results? I mean, they were just jaw-dropping. In an industry that was actually shrinking, Cirque grew its revenue 22-fold in just its first decade. This wasn't just a little bit of growth. This was a total quantum leap. So how'd they pull it off? Well, they targeted a completely new group of people, the folks who were the non-customers of the traditional circus. They went after adults and corporate clients, people who would normally be heading to the theater, the opera, or the ballet. And these customers were totally willing to pay a premium price for a sophisticated, artistic experience that the old circus just could not offer. This incredible move by Cirque du Soleil is the perfect example of our core topic today: Blue Ocean Strategy. So let's get into what that really means. This side-by-side comparison really just lays it all out, doesn't it? Red Ocean Strategy is all about competing in existing markets to beat the other guy. Blue Ocean Strategy is about creating totally new markets to make the other guy relevant. It's not about fighting over the demand that's already there, but creating and capturing new demand. And this last one is huge. It breaks that classic old-school trade-off between value and cost. And the payoff for this kind of thinking is, well, enormous. A study of 108 companies found something incredible. While 86% of new business ideas were just small tweaks in the red ocean, they only brought in 39% of the profits. But the tiny 14% of launches that were true blue ocean creations, they absolutely raked in a massive 61% of total profits. That's the paradox of strategy right there. This quote from the authors really sums it all up. In blue oceans, you're not fighting over scraps. You're creating the whole pie. There's just so much room to grow, quickly and profitably, because you're not locked in that bloody battle. You're setting your own rules. Okay, so how do you actually do this? What's the engine that makes this whole thing work? Well, it all boils down to one core concept: value innovation. Value innovation is really the cornerstone of all of this. Traditional strategy always tells you that you have to make a choice. You can either create more value for customers at a higher cost. That's called differentiation, or you can create decent value at a lower cost. Blue Ocean Strategy just rejects that choice. It says, nope, why not both? It's all about going after differentiation and low cost at the same time. Let's see how this actually works using their 4 actions framework. Cirque asked 4 key questions. First, what should be eliminated? Boom. They got rid of expensive and controversial animal acts and big-name star performers. This didn't just slash their costs, it also removed a huge ethical barrier for a whole new audience. Next, what should be reduced? They toned down the emphasis on a bunch of disconnected thrill acts. Then, what should be raised way, way above the industry standard? The quality of the venue itself and the audience's comfort. And finally, the really exciting part, what new factors should be created? This is where they brought in things from the theater, a theme, a storyline, original music, and beautiful dance. This transformed a bunch of acts into a single artistic show, which totally justified a premium ticket price. And that is how they got both incredible differentiation and lower costs at the same time.
Now, you might be thinking this is all a pretty modern, high-concept kind of idea, but it's really not. To prove it, let's jump in a time machine and go back over 100 years to one of the most famous examples in business history.
So back at the turn of the 20th century, the car industry was this tiny little red ocean. Cars were handmade, they were unreliable, and they were ridiculously expensive toys for the super rich. As Woodrow Wilson put it, they were seen as a symbol of arrogant wealth. That was the world Henry Ford was looking at.
And here is where the genius move happens. Ford realized his real competition wasn't the other car makers. Nope. His real competition was the horse-drawn carriage, the main way everybody else got around. So instead of trying to build a better luxury car for $1,500, he set out to build a better, more reliable, and way cheaper alternative to a $400 horse and buggy.
And oh man, did he succeed. By 1924, the price of a Model T was down to just $290. He didn't just steal a few customers from other car makers, he created a massive, brand new market of car owners by pulling people from the horse and buggy market. He literally created a blue ocean. So when you study over 100 years of these kinds of strategic moves, you start to see some really interesting patterns. First off, it's not always about some brand new revolutionary tech. Ford's assembly line idea was adapted from a meatpacking plant. Second, it's often the big established companies, not just startups, that pull this off. And finally, a powerful blue ocean move can build a brand that lasts for generations, just like Ford and Cirque du Soleil. So what's the big takeaway here? What does it actually take to find these blue oceans? At the end of the day, it's all about a fundamental shift in how you see the world of business. The traditional red ocean view is what they call structuralist. Basically, you think the industry's rules are fixed, and you just have to compete within those lines. But the blue ocean view, that's reconstructionist. It believes that market boundaries and industry structures aren't set in stone. They can actually be reshaped and changed by what we do. You can change the game. And that really leaves us with a final question to chew on from all of this. Look at your own world, your own industry. What are those long-held beliefs, those accepted rules of the game that everyone just competes by? And the big question is, which of those rules are just begging to be broken?